The film opens with a jaded Javier who is about to break up with his girlfriend at a bar on a Friday night. However, an interruption from one of his previous girlfriends reveals that the setup is a routine act of his. He has a long history of breaking up with people, seemingly without any reason, just because he doesn't see a future with them. His ex-girlfriend explains this meticulously to the soon-to-be-dumped girlfriend of his, like how he always does it on a Friday because the bar will be packed and she can't make a scene. How he also pays early so he can leave in a hurry, and how it always ends with that phrase of him not seeing a future with them. Though his ex-girlfriends seem to take this excuse simply as just a sign of what they assume are Javier's commitment issues, it is instead the simple truth. From the young age of 16, when Javier had his first kiss, he has been able to see the future of his relationship with whomever he kisses. On his first kiss, he has a vision that he will be in an exciting relationship with this girl. It all goes well until he sees her kissing someone else, and his heart is broken. He lost 3 years of his life, but he just needed one last date to confirm this special talent of his, which he did. Ever since that time, he has learned to heed his prophetic first kiss visions, and thus never lets his relationships get past anything casual. Javier owns a small publishing house called Monforte Editions that is failing miserably in terms of business. His last hope for success is washed-out writer Sonsoles Duran, who is writing a new book for him, hoping for a comeback. He is quite snobbish when it comes to books, and he is not ready to publish the work of any author he does not personally approve of. Both his professional and personal lives seem quite bleak. All his life, he has managed to stay away from heartbreaks and even life-threatening events because of his special talent. But that, in a way, turns him into a boring person who fails to find anything exciting in his life. One night, he goes on a double date with his friend Roberto, his girlfriend Lucia, and her friend Esther. Lucia never really likes Javier, but his commitment phobia makes him the perfect person to hook up with after a breakup. She wanted to help Esther get over her past relationship, so she planned the double date. After dinner, Roberto leaves, but Lucia, Javier, and Esther decide to hit a nightclub. There, Lucia opens up to Javi about how boring Roberto has become. A drunk Esther then drags them to the dance floor and asks Javier and Lucia to kiss, and they do so on the spur of the moment. Javier realizes that Lucia is his true love when he kisses her. According to his vision, they will be madly in love with each other, and they will eventually start a family together. While Lucia does not know about the future, she too feels the spark when she kisses Javier. Even though there is a connection, it seems all too wrong because of Javier's friendship with Roberto. The next morning, Lucia meets Javier at his publishing house to discuss with him what happened the night before. Lucia wants to remain friends, and Javier agrees with her proposal. She even convinces him to sign a popular writer, Santiago Donate. While their introduction to Donate goes smoothly, Donate refuses to work with him, knowing how poorly the publishing house is doing. Nonetheless, the entire experience brings Javier and Lucia closer. Javier struggles to understand how he must proceed, knowing that Lucia is the person he will eventually end up with. In the meantime, a bartender named Ariana strikes up a conversation with him. Ariana is an eccentric character, and her pink hair complements her personality. She is not just a bartender, but also a performance artist, and Javier is simply blown away by her energy. She decides to make crepes for him and takes him to her ex-boyfriend's house to bring back her crepe maker. Even though Javier does not have crepes that night, he has extreme fun, the kind of adrenaline rush that he has never felt before. The next day, Javier tries to convince Roberto to break up with Lucia, but instead of leaving Lucia, Roberto decides to propose to her. He wants to make a grand gesture and express his love for her, something that he has lately failed to do. As fate would have it, Lucia rejects his proposal, breaking Roberto completely. While Javier is sad to see his friend devastated, he has always known that this is meant to be. After kissing Javier, Lucia started to question her relationship with Roberto. There is a distance between them, and she barely enjoys being with him anymore. Feeling guilty, Javier asks Lucia to reconsider, but is slightly relieved when she doesn't. Elsewhere, Sonsoles sends in the first draft of her book, and Javier isn't impressed with the ending. Lucia suggests they give the manuscript to her colleagues and use them as a focus group to understand what works. When they give similar feedback and agree that a new ending can make the book sell, Javier is ecstatic. He thanks Lucia and the two share a hug. This leads to them having sex, exactly like Javier saw in his vision. Initially, they do not consider giving their situation a serious thought, but soon Javier and Lucia become almost inseparable. and every moment that Javier sees while kissing Lucia for the first time eventually comes true. Javier meets Ariana again one afternoon. She is staying at her friend's place while he is away mountain climbing. They go to the roof, and she tells him about her adventurous life, in which she has traveled all across the globe and is saving money to settle down in Australia. Javier is always fascinated by her travel stories. She is someone who never thinks twice before making a decision. She is surprised by how certain Javier is about his relationship with Lucia. She simply cannot believe that a person can ever be so certain in love. Javier feels compelled to share the truth with her. He discreetly shares that he is always able to predict the future of the relationship in the first kiss. She asks him to kiss her and tell her what he sees. Strangely enough, when Javier kisses her, he enters a place where time stands still. He cannot see the future and stays in the present. This occurs for the first time in Javier's life, and he does not know what to make of it. He concludes that maybe it is because he has found his one true love that he cannot see the future with anyone else. After he returns home, he sees Roberto waiting for him. He is struggling to get over the breakup, and all he wants is a friend to comfort him. But unfortunately, he notices Javier's screensaver just as he is about to leave. It is a picture of Javier and Lucia together. Roberto leaves without a word, and Javier follows him to explain himself. Roberto makes it clear that he can no longer be friends with the man who stole his love from him, and he is confident that Javier will fail to keep Lucia happy. On the work side of things, Sonsoles gets in trouble when Javier realizes she plagiarized her latest book. She admits that it has been 10 years since her last hit, and she can't figure out what to write. Javier has a genius idea and introduces her to Ariana. The chirpy young woman encourages Sonsoles to break her creative block and brings out the writer from inside her. Javier and Lucia are quite happy in the initial days of their relationship, but over time, Javier gets too comfortable with the idea that they will always be together, no matter what. He starts to put less effort into the relationship, making Lucia wonder if they have lost the spark. Every surprise that she plans is something that Javier has already seen in his vision. Even though he acts surprised, Lucia knows that it is just not right. When Javier discloses that he already knows how their vacation is going to be, she decides that she has had enough. Lucia asks Esther to accompany her on the trip. While Lucia is gone, Javier goes to watch Ariana's performance. After her act, Javier feels drawn to her and proceeds to kiss her, but Ariana is not ready for it. She knows that Javier has a girlfriend, and she is not comfortable with the mixed signals she is getting from him. While he has a clear vision with Lucia, with Ariana, nothing is certain, and he feels good about it. Regardless, he thinks about how long he'd wait for Lucia to come into his life, and now that he is with her, he's not going to lose her. So, he decides to get her book signed by Santiago Donate at one of his talks and surprise her. Meeting that guy was the first thing they did together, so it would be a special thing to do for her. However, when he arrives at the talk, he is surprised to see Roberto as a special guest. After his falling out with Javier, Roberto closed down his podiatrist clinic and now travels the world. He has become a benchmark for international cooperation. He talks about what led to this decision and notices Javier in the audience. Javier apologizes for the past, and even though he has reasons to be upset, Roberto is, in a way, thankful to Javier for pushing him off his limits and making him experience life outside of his comfort zone. When Lucia returns, she discusses with Javier how, initially, she made every decision thinking about what Javier had told her about the trip before she left. But gradually, she realized that she was missing out on all the fun by focusing on Javier's prediction. So, the next half of the trip was spent without caring about his prediction, and she thoroughly enjoyed herself. She believes Javier, too, must let go of himself and make mistakes and memories. Javier realizes that Lucia is not happy with him. She is making the same compromise that she once made with Roberto. The next evening, Javier arranges for him and Lucia to meet with Roberto, but he decides to cancel at the last minute. He wants Lucia and Roberto to sort out their differences. Roberto is a changed man. He is the kind of person Lucia wants in her life. By stepping back, Javier gave the old lovers a chance to reunite. After staying in a relationship with the person he thinks is his one true love, Javier realizes that life is a lot more than finding love. Even though their relationship is supposed to be textbook perfect, it is far from the kind of relationship that they both are looking for. Javier decides to stop focusing on finding love and instead focuses on all the things that he can do to bring happiness into other people's lives. He purchases a plane ticket to Australia and slips it into Ariana's window, as she had told him earlier that she always wanted to go back to the country after spending some time there in the past. He learns to read and appreciate the works of his colleagues and actively participates in conversations with them. He realizes that though everyone seems to have it all figured out, in reality, nobody has any clue about what they are doing in life. He has lied over the years about the condition of his publishing house, but now he is not ashamed to share the truth with his audience. He is proud of the progress that Sonsoles Duran made in her new book, and he is glad to have been there with her on her journey. With Ariana helping her realize that she needs to communicate her reality with the audience, instead of pretending to be someone she is not, Sonsoles can structure her new book, and Javier is proud of publishing it. The book is a success, and Javier throws a party to celebrate it. We learn that Roberto and Lucia are back together, and they continue to share a good relationship with Javier. Sonsoles gives him a surprise by inviting Ariana to the success party. Javier did not expect to meet Ariana there. According to her plan, she was supposed to be in Australia. When she had the ticket in hand, she realized that she did not want to go there and start her life over again. So, she chose to sell the ticket and use the money to start her podcast. Javier hopes to catch up with Ariana again, but she is unsure about it. She knows she likes him, but it is all too overwhelming for her. Ariana leaves the party, and Javier follows her. He confesses to Ariana that he is ready to follow her wherever she is planning to go. They kiss as the screen fades to black, and with that the movie ends. We hope you enjoyed our video. Watch the next recaps on the screen, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing recaps. See you in the next one.